Well, darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only...
Welcome to the Dirty Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Cookie, and as always, thank you for tapping in with me. You could be anywhere, listening to anybody, but I had to bring y'all a midweek. It was important. I've been taking a break, y'all. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. I'm going to say it once a year. Breaks are good. Breaks are necessary. Half of our mental health is in the trash right now because we're trying to do too damn much and we don't know when to sit down. But also, I need to get this laugh out real quick. Y'all, I'll be pissing my editor off. I did a solid pregame today, y'all. So I'm not going to hold you. It's a couple of lemon drops in my system. It's a couple of shots in here, but I'm going to tell you why. Y'all, we've done 100 recordings. So between the audio, we know when I started out, we only did audio to the YouTube, to the Midweek Cookie Crumbles, to my audio listeners, y'all gotta subscribe to the YouTube because sometimes I do a little something special that's just visual only. We've hit 100 recordings of the Dirty Bag. I'm not gonna cry. I didn't have some liquor in my system, but I'm not gonna cry. We have hit 100 total recordings of the Dirty Bag. That is 100 pieces of content, 100 pieces of unpacking the Dirty Bag, 100 pieces of laughs, 100 pieces of self-reflection, all of it. And I got to thank y'all for keeping me going. Because let's talk about it. It's 1 million podcasts out right now. 1 million. And half of them don't last 20 episodes. Reason being, they don't understand this shit is work. Consider it a second job. Consider it a thankless job. Consider it something that you do because you love it, not because you're looking to make money. Because if you coming in this to make money, you're going to be pissed. But speaking of a thankless job, y'all, we have got our second award nomination. We done got nominated for a second award. We've been around. Dirty Bag is 3 years old. We done had one nomination and one win, and now we're on our second nomination. Be crystal clear. I got the best guests. I love my supporters. I love our audience, even though I know we're all a little bit more seasoned. Y'all ain't got time to pop out on social media all the time to boost the comments or whatever. You show up where you need to show up, and I love y'all for that. Nobody can tell me I don't have the best guests. No shade to no other podcast, but when I bring people in here, these are adults. These are grown folks. They come to talk about grown shit, and I love that because that makes life easy for me. I don't have to have a whole plan written out. I don't have to have 11 note cards. We're going to sit here. We're going to vibe. We're going to do what we do. We're going to unpack these grown folk trenches, and it's because of y'all I have got to number 100. So thank you so much. So yes, we got nominated. We had the audacity to get nominated for Podcast of the Year, the COSIGN Magazine, which is based here out of Dallas, for Podcast of the Year. So November 17th is going to be the COSIGN Awards. Apparently y'all rocking, and I'm not mad about it. So hold up, because let me give y'all this website real quick, because we're going to need these votes. You got till the 20th to go to cosignmag.com/COSIGN Awards 2024. Again, COSIGN Mag, like cosign.com/COSIGN Awards 2024. And vote from every device you have. Now, difference between this year and last year, as we know about Best of Black Dallas, I'm not in a place, now that we've come upon 100 recordings, to prove myself to nobody. Last year, I was stressed out. I did such hard work. I knew we had great episodes, but I still felt like I was trying to prove myself. I still wanted folks to know that I was good. This year, that's not a question. At this point, it's all friendly competition. There's no question for me as to whether or not I'm one of the best podcasts in the DFW. I am. And y'all know it too. You know it because some of y'all follow me, you get tips from me. And you're welcome. So I gotta pop it a little bit because I see y'all watching. I have to pop it a little bit. I don't question my worthiness anymore. I don't question whether or not the content is good. The content literally speaks for itself. It's just a matter of whether or not my audience is in the mood to be on here clicking buttons every day saying, girl, we already said you good. We said you the best. That's all it is. So I'm very grateful, very honored to be nominated for my second award in 3 years of being in podcasting. This world can be very frustrating, very tiring, and very lonely sometimes. So I'm going to always be here for getting my flowers from the people that matters. So what I was originally going to do today, y'all, when I didn't realize we hit 100, was unpack the last episode. The way y'all got in my ass like, Cookie, what did you do? What is this? I was not prepared for the fact that I was going to have a conversation that was laced in so much misogyny and so much ignorance. There's two things we know about Cookie if you research me. Number one, I'm very passionate and very sensitive about the conversation concerning the movement. That was a very important chapter of my life. It felt like a long chapter in my life. It left scars, but I also seen bad things happen to really great people. So here's the part where I say when you come on anybody's platform, you need to do your homework. I'm not even saying do your homework to make sure it's the right fit for you, but do your homework so you know who you're sitting across from, especially when who you're sitting across from is a part of modern day history. Okay? I have not had a lot of men on this platform, and not because I'm anti-man or anything like that, but this is literally a space for women, specifically Black women and Black mothers, because sometimes we are the ones that come in and save everybody, but people don't always want to hear us speak. We do too much. People prefer us in the roles of servitude and not us championing ourselves and just advocating for ourselves. So the one thing I'm sensitive about is anybody coming on this platform not understanding the role women play, what we've done, our work, and our heartaches, our heartburns. And one of those is being protected. In the last episode, we really got caught up, if y'all remember, in talking about harassment, street harassment, which to me was just really low-hanging fruit. Everybody knows about the harassment of existing and just going about your day, regardless of what you have on. But in my mind, and this is the part where after the last episode, I do not give a damn about anybody calling me mean and saying I'm extra. I'm mean, I'm extra, I have a strong personality. If y'all understood what it took for me to sit in this chair and be calm and to fight myself to just not respond the way y'all responded on TikTok, because y'all said the quiet parts all the way out loud. I didn't want to address certain things that happen within the movement. So when you sit in front of somebody like me and you say, we protect you, and I know for a fact that women have experienced harm at the hands of leaders, it's a trigger for me as I realize it was for some of you. And again, this is on me as the host. It is my job to vet everybody that comes on here. And typically I'm pretty good about that. I hand select my guests, but when someone asks me to come on, usually I'll watch you for a while. And for a while means some months. I need to figure out who you are, what it is you stand for, what your value system is. But most importantly, I need to know what your thoughts are on women and children. Because that's going to tell me everything I need to know about you, especially if you are at the big age of Club 40s. I don't give a whole lot of grace for ideologies that are reckless and dangerous coming from folks that are in their 40s. Because at this point, we've lived enough life to know better. It's some things you just should not be saying. It's some things we've been around long enough to know. Like the fact that most of the violence or sexual violations you'll receive is going to come from a partner. It's going to come from somebody you actually know, not a stranger on the street. Granted, street harassment is low-hanging fruit. That's the obvious. But we've seen videos. We saw last year, this man went live going off on his ex before he unalived those children. So we know what violence, interpersonal violence looks like between men and women. So my whole thing with the conversation last episode is let's talk about having accountability conversations about control and violence and entitlement to women. That's it. That's all I was going at. And I knew that because we couldn't get it right on something very simple, that talking about experiences that women actually went through was going to be too much. The last episode could not hold the weight of what I knew. What I know is there were experiences where somebody lost custody of their children because a protector knew that getting in front of a racist white judge would work in his favor in speaking on that woman's activism and her being out in the streets and her simply standing up for Black lives. I didn't get into the fact that one of my guests, season 1, did experience sexual assault at the hands of a leader. And she's been very vocal about it. And not only was she sexually assaulted, she was sexually assaulted during a vigil for one of our murders. The day one of us died, somebody was sexually assaulted by a leader. I didn't talk about the fact that there were women that opened their homes up to radical freedom-fighting men to have their places either robbed or worse, destroyed because somebody could no longer freeload or they could not respect the boundaries and respect that was required to be in that household. There were so many things that happened to so many women in this movement. So for somebody to sit across from me and speak the opposite, and it being painfully obvious he wasn't well-versed in this movement, y'all, I was calm. Y'all watched me sit still, but like internally, I was going through it because I'm like, what are you talking about, cuz? But again, that was completely on me. As the host of The Dirty Bag, I take full responsibility for allowing anybody to come on this platform that I have not done my due diligence to fully vet as far as your values, like-mindedness, and what you stand for as it pertains to what we are here for. We unpack our dirty bags. When you come in here, you got to be ready to unpack your shit. This is not a place to come perform. This is not a place to come catch a vibe because it seems like I'm doing a little something. Who are you? What do you stand for? And how deep in the woods are you willing to go with it? Or do you do a work that pertains to what we're talking about here? I don't know if many of you know this, but the whole outro, whatever we got going on, wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distance, and when you get a free moment, please remember to clean out your dirty bag. That is me paying respect to the nurses in my life. A lot of my friends became COVID nurses during the lockdown, but those same women were also on the front lines standing up for Black lives. Ain't it crazy that women go from protesting to being in the ER, protecting everybody? But those women went through a lot in this movement. They went from going through a lot for standing up for Black lives to being in the ER during just something that we could have never fathomed, and knowing the depression and the stress and the being overworked and not protected that they went through. So my outro to this podcast is really me paying respect to my friends that were frontline soldiers for Black lives that turned into frontline soldiers in healthcare. And for somebody to come on this platform and not know that about me, what we talking about? Y'all, I was being so calm. And y'all know I'm an alpha female through and through. It's not something I brag about. It's just something I fell into. I didn't have a choice. So I tend to be right a lot of the times, not all the times. So if I'm going to be calm and submissive and listen to what the other side has to say, if you a man that comes on this podcast and you trying to educate me on or tell me something, you better know what you're talking about. You better know who you sitting across from. I know my shit. And I might lovingly and respectfully call you on it, being very calm. So it was a lot. But instead of me just unpacking that whole episode, because that was crazy, and y'all definitely let me know that, hey, Cook, if I were you, I would have stopped that interview. This is the part of me having organic conversations. This is how you know that nothing is scripted and pre-planned here, because I don't know. I'm going off the vibe of who you are and what your dirty bag looks like. And in that case, dirty bag looked like misogyny. And honestly, just, it was foolery, y'all, but it was on me, not him. But let me get back to podcasting and hitting 100 total pieces for this podcast. This has been a roller coaster for me, y'all. 2024 really tested me. But what 2024 taught me that the other couple of years in this podcast didn't is that there's no room for pride when you're creating. You're going to have some ebb and flows. There's going to be up and downs when you're building something, but you have to be ready to adjust with it. I talked about the fact that at the end of 2023, I was laid off. As y'all know, I've been a corporate girl, a radical corporate girl at that, which is crazy. But I've been so comfortable in having career, what's that word? That's not really real. I've been very comfortable in having career security. I've never in my life been laid off from anything. I've always left for better opportunities. So what 2024 taught me is, okay, let's see if you're going to make things happen. Because I had every reason to put a pause on this. I had every reason to say, I love Dirty Bag, but I need to stop and get some things in order. Like, the bag ain't bagging right now. What I learned this year was you got to figure out a way to make a way out of no way, even when it ain't what you want to do. Sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do until you can do what you want to do. I didn't articulate that the way I wanted to, but y'all get what I mean. I survived my first year of really being self-employed. It was a lot. Lord, it was a lot. Y'all know me, I'm a convenience girl. I pay for convenience in all areas of my life because I've always been a 9-to-5 girl. I had to be humbled this year to, like, sometimes, look, you gotta keep these lights on. You gotta keep this child fed. You gotta keep this private school education paid for. So sometimes you're gonna have to do things, even if it don't fall in line with what it is you want to do or the image you want to portray publicly. And I needed that humbling. Me getting through 2024 taught me I can handle anything. And in the past couple of weeks, the light at the end of the tunnel has been very bright. When y'all are creating, and I know all of us, our fantasy world is we just will create whatever it is we doing or our business. Sometimes your ass gonna have to get a job, and it might be a job you don't want. Sometimes God might be seeing if you really about what you say you about, if it don't come to you the way you want it to. And that was a test for me this year. I've been doing 10-hour days for a minute. All I knew was I got to make sure home is taken care of and still do this thing. And I'm glad I went through it. Sometimes we need to be humbled, y'all. We get so cocky sometimes. Let me say something to you. And I learned this by way of coaching. Shout out to David Shands creating the 7-figure podcast group, because the one thing our coach CJ taught us is you got to have a dog in you. And what he's saying is you got to go get it. So somebody wants to ask my advice on podcasting. I don't care how talented you are, how nice the studio is. Sometimes you're going to have to put feet to the pavement. You're going to have to go get the business. You're going to have to go create when the visual is not that pretty. You're going to have to do what you have to do. You just have to. You gotta. Don't nobody care. Relationships are important. I'll be talking about how y'all get on my nerves, and y'all do. I'm sorry. It's being a girl from North St. Louis. I'm used to being around rawness and just unapologetic realness. We either rock with you or you don't, or we don't. But that don't work in every situation. Sometimes you have to build relationships to get what you want. You just do. And Lord knows I am the cutoff empress. I am the cutoff queen. I am the cutoff originator. If I don't rock with you, I don't want to have to deal with you. But sometimes I got to deal with y'all. I got to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I got to see the bigger picture and not just what my emotions are. So this year definitely taught me humility. I had to get humbled a little bit this year. I got humbled a lot. And it's okay. I needed it, because going into the next chapter, I know that, listen, sometimes things are not going to be here. They're going to be here, but you can get through it. You just going to have to do a little, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. I downsized my lifestyle last year in a way that pissed me off. Y'all, I love space. Mind you, it's just me and a 4-year-old. I love space. I love having somebody come detail my car in front of the crib without me having to go anywhere. I love having a cleaning lady. I'm a 9-to-5 girl. I don't want to scrub shit. I want to rest. I had to peel back on some things. I love going to every networking event. Y'all got brunch? I'm showing up, because I know there's some people there that are going to be important for me to meet. Some seasons, you got to sit your butt down somewhere. So it's knowing when to sit down somewhere, but it's also knowing when, hey, you ain't too good to talk to people. You ain't too good to build relationships. Get your butt out here, because this person you might meet today might open the door you need to get you into the next level tomorrow. 2024 got me all the way together. And literally on the 1-year anniversary of me getting laid off, doors opened. So I am a testament to knowing that if you stay the course, things gonna work out. But humility is required when you are building anything. I'm so grateful in this season to have another award nomination, but I know it's not about the awards. It ain't. I'm competitive, y'all, so I'm coming for it. Let's be clear. I'm coming for it. I'm asking for the votes. I'm asking for it. But it's not because I want folks to think I'm the best. I know that already. All you other podcasts, y'all cool. I love this category because it's so competitive. Y'all really going to K104 to get votes? Y'all really going to the radio station? Y'all really going to the radio station? I'm not mad about it though. This category, it's some little hunters in here, and I like it because it's good for the culture of Dallas. It's good for the podcasters coming behind us that's trying to make a name for themselves. So the competitiveness in this category is really dope. I'm just letting you know. I see y'all. And whoever wins it, I ain't gonna, well, with the exception of one of y'all, I don't care. Whoever wins it, you worked hard for it because I done seen what everybody got going on. I love it. But for me, I'm able to actually enjoy this award season because I've already proven myself. I know I'm good. There's something about knowing that you are talented and resting in that where you don't have to fight too hard. I was an athlete, y'all. I'm competitive. That's all. I'm coming for everything simply off that, not because I need to prove myself. Y'all ain't touching me. You're not. And also, I get tired of a lot of y'all content looking like it was shot from a potato from the first Android ever. So, I mean, you really need to hit up Red Passage Pro. Y'all, you see this. You see this. One thing I love about the work that I do with Red Passage Pro on the Dirty Bag is we understand that conversations are art. They're art, y'all. So after you get done recording, that's the first part. The second part is you making the shit look good. You making that back and forth look engaging. Stop just relying on Opus to tell the story for you. Opus is an excellent guiding tool. It is. But it's up to you to get inside your brain and say, how is the best way for me to communicate this conversation? This ain't me telling y'all what to do. But you watch me. I'm going to give you some free game. Get inside your creative bag and figure out ways to make your podcast episodes, your clips, look like art. I don't need to see all 5 of y'all heads at the same damn time. For what? What I had to learn about me is I have resting bitch face. A lot of y'all do too. Sometimes the camera don't need to be on your face. It don't. And that's why it's important for you to work with somebody that understands that. So you ain't up here for 10 seconds looking crazy as shit. You ain't got no edges. The camera's still on you. You look goofy. You look like you're not interested in the conversation. It's an art. Podcasting is an art beyond the recording, y'all. Be really intentional when you are dropping podcast clips and what the message is and what the story is you want to communicate. So that's my free game. You ain't got to listen to me. You can say I'm being mean. Half of y'all think I'm mean. I don't care. I'm mean, but I win shit. I'm mean, but I'm a winner. I'm mean, but my shit looks top notch. So tap in and learn something. That's not going to go over well. I told y'all I had a couple of lemon drops. So maybe it's the lemon drops. Maybe it's how I really feel. I don't know. Now, let me give a quick message to the podcasters that's really been in the paint, working really hard, and you feel like nobody appreciates what I'm doing. Keep going. Awards ain't everything. I know I say that from a place of privilege, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. Let me tell you a story about the night of Best of Black Dallas. I said it on a live about a month ago. I'll say it here. I did a wardrobe change that night because there was an after party at the House of Blues. Best of Black Dallas knows how to throw an after party because it's literally for grown folks. What I mean by that is there ain't a whole lot of cell phones out, people posting things to TikTok. I didn't see one. I was the only one to pull my phone out. Nobody has their phones out at a Best of Black Dallas after party. They literally vibe like adults. It really gave early 2000s and 90s. Let me stay on track. I did a wardrobe change because the gown I had was going to take me out. It was long. It had a high split. I could have breastfed a small army. It was a lot going on. I took it off and I changed into a shorter dress. And what I ended up doing was I wrapped the award in my gown and I put it in my trunk. I didn't touch that award for 4 days. It was in my trunk. I felt like I deserved to win that night. I didn't know if I would because of who I was in the category with. But the thing that stood out the most to me about that night is that the people that were screaming and cheering for me the night of Best of Black Dallas were not the people I started with, and that bothered me. It was a lot of cheerleaders, but it was like, damn, the people that I used to go live with that saw me in the trenches doing stories in a sports bra on my raggedy old couch that I finally got rid of from college, they were not there that night. I noticed that more than the people that were clapping. So when you get to a certain point, the only thing that's going to matter is who's standing to your left and your right. And it just got really weird for me after I won that award because people that originally started out, they fell off. Sometimes people want to see you do good, but sometimes people want to see you do good to a certain point. They want to see you do well as long as it's within their comfort level of the box they want you in. And after I won that award, it actually got pretty damn dark. Like, I'm going to be honest with y'all. It got dark. Oh my God. But that night, I was having a ball. I'm just sitting here like, damn, it would be nice if this person was here. It would be nice if that person was here. Again, support in the room. But you got to know what's important. So I say to you podcasters, you know what your mission is and you're really intentional about why you're here. Just keep going, man. The real reward is your audience saying, this episode changed me. This episode made me cry. This episode made me think about my relationships. This episode made me think about going after my dreams. This episode made me want to tap more into my mental health. That is your award, I promise. And I'm saying this to somebody that won an award and weeks later felt empty afterwards. Because I thought that winning this thing was going to change everything. I promise it didn't. And I'm saying that in the middle of another nomination because, I'm competitive, but I know what's important with this. So those of you that feel like you ain't been seen yet, and I know who y'all are, I feel like y'all should be on some ballots, to be honest. There are people that I felt deserve to be on that ballot. But just keep doing what you're doing. And when you know that you are impacting lives and you are helping people change the way they look at different situations, you doing your job. I swear. Again. So thank you guys for 100. Something that I did in my bedroom while I was weaning my child off breastfeeding with a $30 microphone and a broke down laptop, sometimes recording in my closet because that blocked out the noise on a street where the internet was terrible and nobody in Dallas knew who I was. And now we are being put in categories as the best. That's crazy to me. So I want to thank y'all. Those of you that DM me asking for advice, here's my thing. Before you come to me asking me for advice about starting a podcast, I'm going to ask you, why are you wanting to do it? And if your reasons don't sound genuine to me and I feel like you're just trying to hop on a wave that it seems like everybody else is doing, I will not help you. You're not going to waste my time. Because this ain't something I even wanted to do. I did it because people told me to, because what I was low-key doing was already vlogging, and that's it. I came into this because I'm a real truth teller. I like highlighting people. I like to talk about the things that are going on in my life. I'm not doing it because it's a trend. It wasn't a trend when I was conceptualizing this. So I don't respect anybody else that I feel is doing it for that reason. Thank you to my audience. I have the best guests. No shade to none of y'all. Y'all ain't touching my guests. My guests are real. They have real experiences. They are super dope. You're not playing with my guests. They're the reason I get nominated for things. So whatever we got going on right now, outside of y'all going to vote, because that's going on right now. Y'all didn't see my armpits, did y'all? Because I did not shave. Jesus. I didn't shave because I ain't getting naked for nobody's son right now. I know I did an episode where I said I was open to dating. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. Girl, it's back. It's Harry again. She ain't hitting for nothing. This ain't hit. I'm back inside. Y'all ain't talking about shit. I changed my mind. I don't want to date. They ain't talking about nothing, y'all. I dipped my toe outside for a minute, y'all playing. Everybody vibing. I'm not a vibe. I'm a grown-ass woman. You come to me, come with attentions. Whatever we got going on, wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distance. And when you get a free moment, please remember to clean out your dirty bag. Till next time.
Well, darling, there's only one